and with review. We'll start with Q&A and review, but before we do that, let me just cover the room. Father God, thank you for today. Thank you for allowing us to make it to day 3 in the health series, God. But continue to hold everyone's hands in the room as they navigate withdrawals and detoxing and learning new information and all of the cognitive dissonance that comes with learning new information. Thank you for the time we have today. Bless the technology and the presentation, everybody in the room, and all of the support and the team that we have on today, God. Thank you for another phenomenal class. And here is to the elimination of chronic stress and optimizing our physical health. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen, amen, amen. Okay, y'all, let's rock and roll. Let's rock and roll. So, as promised, I want to start off with seeing what do you need. So, first things first, yesterday we had homework and you were meant to I gave you the plant-based recipe book, plant-based foodie recipe book, but then also I asked you to listen to a podcast episode entitled Why Stress Keeps Coming Back Stronger and How to Finally Break It. So I want to hear from you guys either what takeaways or what clarity have you gotten since we've started with some information you've heard, read, received, or done in homework, and or what questions can I answer for you so that we are all starting off on a super clear slate from today. Come on in, Candace.
Hey family, sorry I can't come on camera. I just finished my walk. But what I wanted to talk about, Lisa, for a second is the term radical. So I listened to the podcast and it was really heavy on radical obedience. And if I'm fully honest, I'm like, Lord, this word just keeps coming up in my life. Like, what are you trying to say to me? I'm a little scared of this radical obedience word. I'm just being honest, right? I know this is a safe space.
Yes.
So in your podcast at the end, you said radical means complete. And I,
Yes.
I just love that, just simplicity. One thing that I wanted to just bring up or have you talk a little bit more about is like when you say the words obedience, can you give us clarity on how to find that obedience? Because what I'm afraid of is people will do radical things and they will be obedient to their self and to their desires. But
Mhm.
how do you balance that to like, okay, what is God calling you to do? And the example that I will give is me being at GE. That was a very stressful, crazy time, and radical obedience from a human perspective for me would have been to leave immediately. Like once I realized, okay, it's this job, to your point and what you're emphasizing. However, God had a different plan. Yes, it was still exiting, but it wasn't my time frame. Does that make
Mhm.
sense? So I
Mhm.
have to be careful when I'm trying to be radical in doing what I need to eliminate the stress, but still staying in alignment to God's timing. Can you
Yes.
talk a little bit about that?
I sure can. Okay, so first, let me preface this by saying my entire lesson on Friday is me teaching you the radical obedience framework.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So everything that I'm going to say now, there probably is way more context that I could provide, which is already planned for Friday's class, where I'm going to break this down in even more detail. But first of all, I define radical obedience, and Candace mentioned this: radical equals complete, obedience equals surrender. Okay. And so that is complete surrender to what God is calling us to do in this season of life. Now, what I hear you asking, Candace, is like, how do we make sure we're being obedient to what God wants and not what we think we want or what we need or what we our preferences, right? And the first thing to note is it sounds like you and God wanted the same thing. The thing that you were maybe conflicted about is the timing, right? Because you said the job was really stressful, the 9 to 5 was really stressful. So you know that needed to change, but it was all about, should I do it right now or should I wait? And so the thing that takes you, one of the things, I'm going to teach 4 things on Friday, but one of the things that makes your obedience to God radical is the timing. So one of the things that I talk about is that radical obedience is immediately and not eventually. But that doesn't necessarily mean, Candace, that you will leave the job the day you got the inkling or realized in your spirit that this is not sustainable. What that means is we create the exit strategy immediately. So sometimes what happens is When we get the flag, when we get the red flag on the job, red flag in the relationship, red flag in our health, whatever the area of our life is, unfortunately, because the reason those situations escalate is because most people ignore the red flags. So radical obedience in your case with your example, Candace, would have been the moment I realized that what's happening for me in my 9 to 5 is not sustainable, is the moment I sit down and decide what am I going to do instead? What is my exit strategy? That is the moment I have the conversation with my partner and say, we need to start making a plan for me to do something different because this is not healthy for me. So, but what most people choose to do, and is instead of acknowledging the red flag, we decide to stay in situations because it feels safer. Well, I can't think of any other way I can pay my bills. So we don't even entertain an exit strategy. We don't begin to think of alternatives. And so the call to action here is when we get the red flag in our health, when we get the red flag in our career, in a friendship, in a relationship with a child, in a relationship with our partner, whatever it is, let's do everything we can to assure that acute stress that you're feeling in that moment doesn't turn into chronic stress because even though we're aware of it, we don't do anything about it. We don't have difficult conversations. We don't make tough decisions. We don't start entertaining what we want instead. We don't activate our faith muscle. And so radical obedience is saying we act immediately, but acting immediately doesn't necessarily mean walking off the job that day. Does that make sense, Candace?
Yep. And I would just say to that point, going back to your podcast, is you talk about like having the tough conversations. And for me, I had the conversation with my husband, I had the conversation with external parties, but I really had to have the tough conversation with me. Does that
Mhm.
make sense? And with
Yep.
God.
Yep.
So again, I just wanted to make sure as we all are consuming this, we take our time and we don't do anything too extreme because there's people that are under a lot of stress right now and they're going
Yep.
to pull the trigger on every single thing, and I'm like, okay, there's a little bit more context. I want to make sure that you're understanding it. And sometimes, to your point, Lisa, or I'm not sure if this to this point, but something we talk about a lot in the ministry is when what is it, emotions or stress is high, reason is low. So you
Hmm.
have to kind of come and make sure you're standing in alignment, listening to your wise counsel to help you navigate that hard situation. Because even me, my solution was exit, and the solution and the actual solution when I went and sat down with God was, girl, no, you were just putting too much pressure on yourself. You
Yeah.
were handling that situation inappropriately, so that's why you incurred all this extra stress. So yes, you are going to leave, but you're not going to leave because you're stressed out. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Absolutely. There are some prerequisites, some traits that one must have to make sure we're navigating decision making better. And one of those things, which is what Candace just alluded to, is emotional intelligence. So, what she's saying, right? Emotions are high, reasoning is low, which means we don't always, if our EQ is low, we don't always make the best decisions when we're at the height of our emotions. And for anyone, this isn't part of your homework actually, but for anyone who wants like a bonus episode or a bonus piece of homework to really delve into that part of decision making and being in your feelings, episode 95, the episode that I dropped on the podcast yesterday. The newest episode is called Decisions Kill Stress: How to Finally Choose with Clarity. And in that, I talk about how to become a good decision maker. And so I walk through in way more detail what me and Candace were just discussing and what she just said, which is 100% true. You have to be very careful with making decisions, big decisions, when you're at the height of your emotions. So the invitation here is make sure your EQ or your emotional regulation is up. And so that's a skill that you have to develop. It's not a switch that you hit, it's a skill you develop to make sure you know how to feel your feelings without making unhealthy decisions. So, episode 95 on the Planet Protocol podcast for anyone who may need that will be helpful. I can drop it in the chat too. Does anybody want me to drop it? I don't know. I don't know if that was helpful or not, but I thought I would mention it. So,
We definitely need it, Lisa. Please drop it. Thank you so much.
you're welcome. Make decisions. Okay, here we go. This is bonus homework, not mandatory. Don't overwhelm yourself. The podcast isn't going anywhere. But if someone struggles with decision making, this episode will be super helpful. And it just dropped yesterday. Oh, thanks, Kiwi. Man, oh, get y'all a good +1. You hear me? If you don't do nothing else in life, get you a good +1. Okay, so is there any other questions? We'll do more Q&A at the end after I teach today's lesson. But I wanted to make sure if there was anything lingering from our past lessons that you guys got clarity you need before we moved on. Any other questions? It could be around food, it can be around stress, it could be about something I've taught before today that anyone wants answered. Okay, I don't see hands or questions. If I missed anything in the chat, drop it again. All right, so let's move on, guys. So, oh, guys, I do this segment when I go live on YouTube, right? And so I go live on YouTube every week, and it's obviously free, right? I just go live, and it's called Monday Morning Keynote. So I do a keynote every week on YouTube. And we have this thing at the end of most of my episodes that I do called the fee for free. The fee for free. And so, what I thought it would be super fun for us to do today is for you to pay me for this information. But you're not going to pay me in APOC in the form of money. You're going to pay today in the form of proof that you've been listening. Somebody put pop quiz in the chat. Pop quiz in the chat. My fee for free, my fee for free is to check in with how you have been listening, absorbing, watching, replaying this information. So we're about to have a pop quiz. Who's a good test taker? Who's a good test taker today? I'm like, Lisa, you done taught a lot. You went ham yesterday. Let's see what they remember. Now y'all should have really, really good brains firing because ain't no sugar on them, ain't no caffeine on them. It's a bunch of prayer on it. Y'all should be firing. So you're about to pay your fee for free. All right. Zip, is your hand up to go ahead and go through the quiz with me? Is that, ooh, come on, Zip, up to the mic, y'all. Okay.
Okay,
All right. You ready, Zip?
I'm ready.
Okay, so I'm going to put the questions on the screen, guys. We have 5 questions in our pop quiz today. We have 5 questions in our pop quiz. Sasha said, "Can we use notes?" This is not
I'm
an
about to
open
say,
book test. Zip, there ain't no
I'm about to
flipping
say, y'all
pages.
help me in the chat or something. I don't. All right, come on.
Oh, help your girl out in the chat for sure. This is not an open book test. This is an open brain test, honey. This is an open heart test. And this is a make your teacher proud test. Okay. So
Okay.
let's get into it. Let me share my screen. We're going to go through this pop quiz and see how much you guys have been retaining for the past several days. Okay. So let me get the questions up and we're going to have a good time. All right. So, Zip, now, raise your hand. Okay. You're representing 76 other people. Make them proud. Okay. Don't let them down. Don't let me down. Don't let APOC down. It's not a lot riding on it. All right, Zip, you ready?
I'm
Here
ready.
comes question number 1 in our pop quiz, y'all. Instead of asking, what do I need to do when it comes to my health, I should try asking,
Somebody help me in the chat. Oh,
not
somebody
fumbling
said
the ball
belief.
on.
I'm sorry. What do I need to believe?
There you
Okay.
go.
Okay. Thank
Yes.
you. Thank
Yes.
you, Kiavia. She helped me.
So instead of asking, what do I need to do when we see people with results, when we see individuals who have attained somewhere that we're trying to go, they've gotten there already. We always say, what do I need to do? Where should I start? What do you drink? What do you eat? But what you really should be asking is get into their head a little bit, right? What do I need to believe? What do I need to believe? All right. So we started day 1 with belief. If you guys are not, make sure you're looking at the screen. I'm putting the answers on the screen as well. Okay, Zip, we'll give you a second try before we put somebody else in this seat now. All right. Don't let us down. Here goes question number 2. Question number 2 in our pop quiz. 2 of the top causes of inflammation in the body are, you muted, Zip. Are you talking?
Oh, sorry. I was muted. Let me see. I'm gonna look at my notes.
Ooh, child. I see somebody ain't gave one of them up, okay? Zip. You supposed to
Oh,
know this. Give me one of them. What's one of them?
well, they said dairy and sugar in the chat.
Oh, who coming up to the seat? Zip, vacant, vacant the seat, please. Good job.
Yeah,
Good
somebody
job.
else come on. Y'all gotta come on, do better than me.
Do we have any other self-proclaimed good test takers that want to come up to the mic? If not, we'll give Zip the next three shots. But you guys are right. It is not stress and sugar, Grace. It is sugar and dairy, sugar and dairy, sugar and dairy. Okay. So two of the top causes of inflammation in the body, guys, are sugar and dairy. That is why we are not eating either one of them all week long. All week long. All right. We have three more questions in our pop quiz. Sine, am I saying it right? Ms. Matthews? I don't get unmuted. Take your time. It ain't no rush.
Yes, yes, you are saying it right. How you
All
doing?
right. You gonna make us proud?
Yes, I'm gonna try.
Okay. We still got a shot. We still got three shots to get this right. This is y'all fee for free, and so far y'all still owe me money. All right, let's get into question number three. Let's get into question number three. All right. Question number three. Sine, acute stress is about your circumstance. Chronic stress is about your.
Perspective, perception, perspective.
Come on, Sine, you better, you better. Okay. It's about your perception of your circumstance. So,
Yeah.
one of the ways that acute stress graduates to chronic stress is that in our minds, it becomes less about the actual circumstance and more about our perception of our circumstance. So now you're doing so good to kick it off. I'm just going to see if you can answer this bonus question. Can you give us an example? You can either use the one I gave in class yesterday or one of your own. Can you give us an example?
An example of chronic stress is yesterday you were talking about how Sunday you be thinking about going to work on Monday and your whole entire body will react to it before and it would trigger your flight or fight. And it's how you looked at your job. It was how you felt about your job. How you feel about your job affects your perspective on how you see your job. So,
Not bad, not bad. I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll make one small edit because I know we got some new students in the room. So it's not just about how you see your job. The job is stressful, it's overwhelming. Sometimes you don't work with a great team or a great leader. But it's not a, and then you might get the intuitive call, Sine, that I need to leave. I need out of here. Like I've outgrown this position or this company, and it's time for me to transition out. The stress comes into play when
mm,
you have fear about leaving, thinking things like, I'm not qualified to do anything else, or I'll fail if I try. I've always wanted to start my own business, but I'll fail. So your perception of leaving is the stress. So not necessarily the actual role, but it's your
mm.
perception of what your alternatives are that begins to cause the stress. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense. Yes.
Okay. Perfect. Perfect. Great job. All right, Sine, let's see what else you got. We got two more questions in our pop quiz, y'all. Y'all make sure y'all give her some love and support in the chat. Here we go, Sine.
Okay.
This is a big one. Stress is a symptom of.
Unalignment.
Come on now. Excellent. Stress is a symptom of misalignment or disobedience. Oh, you was here yesterday. You
Oh,
weren't
I
just here.
was.
You was here. Okay. Stress is a symptom of misalignment or disobedience. This is so awesome. So let's just continue on this example that we just talked about and then that Candace gave us earlier all around career, right? So yesterday I shared that career stress is one of the most common forms of stress for most people, like literally what they're doing for 40 hours a week. And so in the conversation that Candace and I had today, she said, I got to a point where my 9 to 5 became really stressful and overwhelming, right? Now, the disobedience here that would have escalated her acute stress into chronic stress is getting that feeling that this was stressful and not sustainable, and then not creating that exit strategy. That would have been a form of disobedience. So she didn't have to leave the moment she felt unhappy with the work, but not having a plan is what gives us stress. Did you guys know that you can be going through something that's really stressful and the relief doesn't come the moment the entire situation is over. The relief actually comes the moment you have a plan for the situation. Because everything you don't get out in a day, right? It might take some months for you to leave that job. It might take some months for you to leave that circumstance. It might take a while. But the relief comes when you have actually put energy toward creating an exit strategy. So the disobedience would have been, I feel unhappy, I feel unfulfilled, and instead of doing something about it and exploring my options, I just sit in it because I'm too afraid to make a move. Okay. So good job, Sine. You ready for the final one?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Team APOC team, we got to give her something special if she nails this final one now. We might let you in the room first tomorrow. Okay. Anything can happen. Welcome to the front row. Okay. So here's the final question. Here's the final question in our pop quiz, y'all. 2 ways you can graduate from a consumer to a producer includes what?
Come on, Jesus. I wrote this one down. Oh, no, I got my book at home. Okay, okay. Nope, it's closed book. I can do this. Okay, okay. 2 ways to stop becoming a consumer and become a producer. Oh, okay. It's okay. So it's not hard. It's just new. Okay, so it's not hard. You just never tried it before. Okay, that's one
Okay, that's
way.
one of them. That was one of them. Give me one more. Give me one
And then
more.
it doesn't run in your family. Just
Nope, that's
says
not
no, no,
it.
no.
That's
That's
not it.
that's
Nope.
last week.
You
That was
you
last week.
cold. You cold. You
I'm
cold. You was
cold. I'm
hot, but
cold.
you
Hold
cold.
on, wait. Hold on, wait. Oh, calculate the cost of inaction. You know what? Thank God for the
We should we
Q and A.
right. We shouldn't
For
have got
Q and A.
Santiago up here.
For real, son.
Good job. Good job. You did good. And then you called on Jesus, and that's the most important part, right? Before you
Listen,
answer. Come on, Jesus. Give it to me now.
I knew that
Good
little book
job.
was going to come in handy. I'm like, I know I wrote this down somewhere. Thank
Oh,
y'all
good.
for the help.
Good, good. Thank you for being bold enough to raise your hand, honey. Listen, we at the end of every class, guys, we've been talking about how to go from a consumer to a producer. Like, how can I not make this another event that I came to and just heard good information and my life didn't change? And so I told you on day one that one of the ways you do that is by calculating the cost of inaction. And one of the ways to calculate the cost of not taking action is to calculate on what it's cost you so far. So if you were to look back at September of 2024, a year ago, if you were to look back at September of 2023, 2 years ago, what has it cost you not to become radical in your health up until this point? Were you smaller then? Were you not on a medication then? Right? Did you have more energy then? Did you have more mental clarity then? If you're not sure how to calculate the cost of inaction, just look back and see what it's cost you so far not taking action. Right? And then the thing I told you guys on day two was we have to stop saying it's hard when we come to events like this. We hear new information. We hear where people give us the cheat code on things we can do for our situation. But when we hear them, we're like, oh, it's too hard to give up sugar. It's too hard to stop drinking caffeine. It's too hard not to have meat or dairy at a meal. It's too hard to cook without oil. And so we label it as hard when the truth is, I'm just new. So my second tip from yesterday was to change your language. Change your language. Who has tried that in the last 24 hours? Who has had to tell themselves it's not hard? I'm just new. I saw Sine raise her hand. It's not hard. I'm just new. There's no way people are already doing this. People have been plant-based for 20 years. Lisa's been doing this for 10 years. She says she ain't ate sugar since 2011. It can't still be hard. It must be that I'm just new. Okay. All right. Good job, y'all. That was fun. Thank you, Sine. Thank you, Zip. Like, no. Thank you, Zip. Thank you for everybody who participated. Wow, we need sound effects. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, so let's get into our clip of the day that is going to kick off today's lesson. We'll have some more Q&A at the end when I get into today's segment of From Consumer to Producer. But let's get into our clip of the day, our 90-second clip of today that is going to be the kickoff to today's lesson, which is entitled The Physical Costs of Chronic Stress. Let me share and then reshare. 1 second. All right, got the sound on. All right, guys, let's listen to this clip and then we'll get into our brief lesson today. Uh-oh, hold on. I shared the wrong screen. Okay, here we go. Understand that when I come on here and I talk about stress, it is because this is a real thing. Like kale won't fix stress. Carrots won't fix stress. Lunges and squats won't fix stress. Drinking water won't fix stress. Even God's gift to us all, coconut water, won't fix stress, right? A good smoothie bar. Let me tell you what else won't fix chronic stress. Spa days won't fix chronic stress. Massages won't fix chronic stress. Journaling, it won't fix chronic stress. Meditation, breathing, it won't fix chronic stress. It will give you relief in the moment and allow you to manage it. But we should not be managing anything that's meant for elimination. Just like I don't understand why somebody would manage type 2 diabetes for 20 years. Did you know that that's reversible? Why would you be managing obesity for 10 years? Did you know that that was reversible? Why would we be managing chronic stress? Did you know that this was reversible? Why would you manage anything that can take your life? Let's get into it. I need you guys to understand the importance of. Okay. Okay. That's our clip for the day, guys. That is our clip for the day. Why would we manage anything that's reversible? Anybody got an answer for me? Why would we agree? Why would we agree to just monitor something that can be completely eliminated? Why would we agree to manage and monitor something that there's a cure, that there's a system and a strategy to eliminate, right? Why? Why would we do that? And so today, just like everything I named on that clip, we're going to focus on what it takes to eliminate chronic stress. And we're going to talk about the consequences of not doing so. So we're going to start with the consequences, like what happens if we don't. Now, before I get into this next part of the lesson, I need you guys to think about what might be stressing you out. Okay. So the assignment, before I teach the mechanics of chronic stress and how it leads to disease, I want everybody right now to think about what area of your life are you currently experiencing the most stress? And drop that in the chat. Is it your career? Is it your health? Is it family? Is it your relationship? Is it your spirituality? Is it your healing? You haven't healed from something in the past that hurt you? Is it a loss that you haven't been able to navigate properly? Is it finances? What area of your life are you currently experiencing the most stress? Okay. This is the time to really dial in, because these lessons over the next couple of days, as we get deeper and deeper into this, is where I need you to be thinking about something specifically. So specificity is going to be really helpful for these next several lessons for the remaining of our health series. Okay. Thank you guys for dropping that in the chat. I'm seeing financial, I'm seeing career, I'm seeing loss. Okay. Good. Family, relationship, health, grief. Thank you guys. Thank you for being honest. So everyone, think about that area that's causing you the most stress right now. And I'm about to break something down to you. So I'm going to show you how acute stress turns into chronic disease, how it goes from acute stress to chronic disease. Okay. So here's what happens. Now, I don't know, you guys, okay, let me do a review from the other day. Do you guys remember when I told you, I broke down yesterday that the definition of chronic stress has nothing to do with your circumstance and everything about a perceived threat, right? And so what we talked about was, it doesn't matter what your circumstance is, it is your perception of the solution to that circumstance that gives you the angst, the anxiety, the stress, like we just talked about with Sine, like we just talked about with Candace right? So it is the perception of what may happen or what may go wrong if I leave the job and do what I really want to do. That's what's stressful. It is the perception of what may go wrong or what might happen, right, if I decide to tackle this hard subject in my relationship. It's the perception of how hard it may be if I go all in and give up all animal products that I've been being called to do. It's not the doing it that's hard. It's not your current health. It's your perception of what your alternatives and your options are. So I said that to say this. All stress starts with a thought. Make sure you're watching the screen as I walk this through. So the very first thing that happens is that a thought, an idea occurs suddenly in my mind. So the example that I used here on the screen has to do with career. So because career is one of the top causes of chronic stress for a lot of people, I'm going to use career as an example. So look at this thought. I hate this job. I do not want to go back tomorrow. It makes me miserable. Now that's just a thought. At this point, it hasn't turned into heart disease or high blood pressure yet. It's just a thought. But let's see what happens next. After you have the thought, it's immediately followed by an emotion. So you have the thought, I hate this job. I don't want to be here. This is so overwhelming. And it's immediately followed by an emotion. We think the thought, but then when we think about what it takes to not fight, to feel overwhelmed, when we think about what it takes to not feel stressed from the job, it's typically followed by anger, resentment, sadness, worry, fear, overwhelm, angst, anxiety. It's followed by an emotion. It's followed by an emotion. Okay. Now, still, we have a thought. It triggers an emotion, but we still good. Like our weight is still good. Our blood pressure is still good. We're not having chronic headaches. We're not having random aches and pains that no one can diagnose. We're still good. But then the next thing that happens is we then have a physical reaction in the body. Because we feel the anger, because we feel the anxiety, it's Sunday night. We're thinking about going into the office, right? Or you've been home away from your partner, but you got to go back home and there's a lot of tension in the house. There's a lot of tension in the house. And so immediately you start feeling nervousness or angst or anxiety, and it's followed by a physical reaction. Your heart starts racing. You might have headaches. You might have shortness of breath. You might have hives. You might have your stomach starts hurting. Your gut starts acting up. Right? You start clenching your teeth. There's tightness in the jaw. There's a physical reaction to the emotion that you're feeling. There's a physical reaction to the emotion that you're feeling. Look at what happens next. Stress hormones start to flood the body. Cortisol and adrenaline starts to flood the body. The body reacts by restricting blood flow and pushing it out to your limbs, suppressing all systems in the body, digestive system, immune system. All of that gets suppressed because when our body is flooded with stress hormones, it sends a signal to our brain that we're physically in danger. So our mind is like, oh, forget digesting food, forget immunity right now. I need to empty this bladder. I need to get blood pumping to my arms and legs so I can flee. Your body is ready to activate your flight stress response. It doesn't know that you're literally just sitting on the couch ruminating about what you got to do this week at work. It doesn't know that you're just coming home from a wonderful weekend with the girls thinking about all of the tension in your household that you're about to go back to. It doesn't know that you're just ruminating over bills that are coming up and how much money you don't have to pay them. So stress hormones are flooding the body. These physical things are happening, but your body isn't smart enough to know that it's not because it's a bear or an intruder in the house. It's just thoughts about circumstances. It reacts the same whether you're trying to run from a giant bear or whether or not you're just thinking about a circumstance that's overwhelming you. Your body reacts the same way. So then what happens next, guys? We still don't have heart disease. We don't have blood pressure. Like we're still good. We're still good. But the stress hormones are flooding the body now, flooding the body. What happens when it happens, not just one day, not just a stressful week, not just a stressful season. You're planning a wedding, you're planning a surprise party, you're at the bedside of someone who's on their way to transition out. That's a acute stress situation. But imagine this is happening over months and weeks and years. You're staying in circumstances that are unfulfilling, that are causing an exorbitant amount of pressure to you, and this is happening over years. Now we're looking at cellular damage. Now the vibrational frequency of the body decreases. We used to have a high frequency, but because now we have all of these stress hormones in our body, it has compromised our blood sugar. It's compromised the acidity versus the alkalinity of the body. It has compromised the systems in the body. And now we are approaching cellular damage. Cellular damage. So the feelings that you feel, the emotions that you feel, they determine the organ that is impacted when the cellular damage begins to happen. So for example, worry is associated with the spleen. So if we have a lot of worry happening, we're compromising. One of the organs that begins to get compromised is the spleen. This is how chronic stress turns into chronic disease. If it's chronic, that automatically means it's long term. And when we are having these physiological reactions over time, that is when organs start to get compromised. This is how anger can turn into breast cancer. Okay. And so the final step in this system is after years, months and years of cellular damage, we then are diagnosed with something like heart disease or high blood pressure. We see excessive weight gain. We see joints. We see autoimmune conditions. We see digestive problems. This is what happens. One thing leads to another, quite literally. Does everybody see that system? Does that make sense? So I asked you before I shared this to think about the area in your life that's causing you the most stress. And now I want you to think about that area, and I want you to look at this process. And I need you to think about the thought that usually triggers the emotion when you think about that area of your life. So if you put career, if you put loss, if you put finances, what's the thought that triggers this entire reaction for you? What are you thinking? Because as I'm sure you guys have probably heard, 70 to 80% of our thoughts are the same as the day before, which means we're thinking about this circumstance, and more than likely, it's not a productive thought loop. It's an unproductive thought loop, meaning we're thinking the same things, but it's not getting us to an exit strategy. It's not getting us closer to being out of the circumstance. We're just thinking about it, and it's triggering an emotion, and it's triggering a physiological reaction until we get back to the original thought. If somebody can testify or agree that that's what happens for them, put me in the chat. I get into a thought loop, coach. I ruminate on the circumstance. Put me in the chat if you've ever been there, you're experiencing it now. Thank you guys for your honesty. I have ruminating and intrusive thoughts that cause me to have an emotional reaction to the thought. And probably unbeknownst to you before now, you then begin having a physiological reaction, hormones flooding your body. I need you guys to see this process. I wanted to spell it out for you because I need you to see how it leads. It could end up as chronic disease if we don't do something about it. This is serious stuff, y'all. So as we begin to wrap up, there's one thing I want to tell you, and this is my mom, who's also a speaker. She's a social worker, actually, for the VA, right? So she works at the Department of Veterans Affairs, and she facilitates a lot of workshops and She's really into personal development just like me. And, or maybe I should say, I'm in a personal development just like her, okay? The GOAT. And she says something that I want to write here on the screen for you. My mom says something that really changed the game for me and how I teach this content. Mom said, it's a very simple sentence, but I want you guys to write it down. It's just a thought, and a thought can be changed. If this whole system, if this whole system starts with a thought, because for all of us, I'm not even gonna say the majority of us, I will go out and say for 100% of us on this call right now, your stress is a circumstance. It is not a physical threat, which means your stress is coming from a psychological story. So if 100% of us are experiencing stress that starts with a thought, there's not a physical threat in your environment. You're safe. That means we have more power than we thought. It's just a thought, and a thought can be changed, which means now when I think about my circumstance, I have to exercise free will. Now, when I think about my circumstance, I can't just ruminate, right? I can't just woe is me. I have to do something different because when it triggers that emotion and I do the same thing tomorrow and the day after and the day after, that's what turns into a diagnosis. I had a student um, recently, and she said, oh, I went through this and I taught this in the class, in the cohort that she was in. And she said, oh my God, coach, this makes so much sense. I've been having these aches and pains and these weird things going on in my body. And she said, I've been to the doctor. They've done every test. They can't find anything, but I know I'm not optimal. This goes back to what I told you guys yesterday. Let me write this on the screen too before we click off of this screen. Hold on. Let me write this down in case you guys missed it yesterday. This is the perfect illustration of the absence of disease. I went to the doctor. They did tests. They can't find anything. The absence of disease is not, all caps underline, the presence of health. This is the perfect illustration of that. I'm having a reaction in my body. I don't feel my best, but they can't find anything. They're doing diagnostic, they're running tests, they're drawing blood. I don't feel right, but they can't find anything. That's because the absence of disease is not the presence of health. Something is off, and it could be an emotional reaction that's manifesting physiologically. We have to do better with thinking that this thing can just be managed. Why would we manage anything that can be eliminated? Okay. All right. I think you guys got it. Let's go on to our final segment today, and then we'll get into the homework. But first, I want to hold space here for questions or takeaways. Out of what I just taught, what resonated with you? And can anybody share what stood out the most? Either get your hand up or drop it in the chat. Now, you guys heard me. Y'all owe money. What's the fee for free? What's the fee for free? The fee for free. Dariana, is that how you pronounce it? Okay, I see your hand up. We'll get it up in a minute. I will get you up, and then Sine, come on in, Sine.
It was the breakdown for me that really
Okay,
like.
did you call on Mary? Did you hear? Oh, I'm sorry. Did you call on Tanae?
Yeah, you're right. You're after her though.
Okay.
Okay, come on in, Sine.
Okay. So for me, it was the breakdown of how stress happens, the thought, the emotion, the physical, the stress, the cellular, and then the disease that comes following. For me, because my biggest stress, and it shouldn't be a stress, but it is for me, is utilizing my gifts and the right way and how to. I'm very creative. I'm a creative thinker, a creative person. So using my art is hard for me because I'm one of them people that start something and don't follow through. Come on now.
Mm, mm.
ET said you can't do that. You gotta start what you finish. I mean, finish what you start. So
Yes.
God been talking to me lately, and I've been stressed out because I'm like, Lord, how do I want to use my art for you. I don't know what I'm doing. He give me ideas all the time, and I just looking like I don't got the finances. I don't got the material. I want to be sewing. I want to be painting. I want to be poetry. I do it all. So I'm just like, I'm stressed out and worried that I won't be able to step up and I will miss opportunities because of fear.
Yes.
So it's like I'm stressed that I'm not doing what I want to be doing, and then I'm stressed that I'm not, that I don't have the finances, and then I'm stressed. It's just I can feel it all, and it's like when you said worry, you felt it in your spleen. I had to Google it because I didn't know where the spleen was.
Sorry, your immune system. Yeah.
Yes, it's attached to the stomach. And you know
Yes.
what's crazy? When I'm stressed out the most, I get this pain that's like it feels like it's my stomach, but it's not my stomach.
Wow.
Spleen. I
Wow.
see. I didn't even know that. So yeah. So I don't know. I'm stressed. I'm trying to figure out how do I walk in this gift because creativity's gifts are hard for me to use. I don't know how to use that.
That's okay. That's okay. You don't need to know the how. You just need to know the what, right? And so we don't have a whole lot of time for a hot seat coaching session right now, Sine, but
Right.
we'll make time for it this week. Okay. So keep coming back. But here's what I will tell you. The the very first step, and this is actually alluding to what I'm teaching tomorrow, the very first step in eliminating chronic stress is identifying what you want. A lot of times we're so focused on getting out of pain that we haven't spent time thinking about what we want instead. And that unfortunately is how we circle back into it's like losing the weight, right? And we get it off. But because we didn't have an enter strategy into what we really want, we only had an exit strategy from the weight, then we inevitably end up right back where we started. And
Mhm.
so don't worry yet about, Sine, how to use your gift, meaning, the logistics of where this was starting. Where would I get the money in? What would I do? And how would I make time? And all of that stuff. That's the logistics.
Yeah.
The first thing I want you to think about and spend some time with is what do I want? Meaning, what would I rather be doing? When you say being creative, give some specifics here. What part of your creative being is this writing, is this drawing? And then when you hone in on how you want to activate your creativity with what side of creativity you're going to do, then you look at, okay, now let me get real specific. Do I want to illustrate children's books? Do I want to sing? And what does that look like? Like paint the picture, right?
Mhm.
So we need the vision first. So what do I want? And we need a level of specificity for it. And here's a warning I'll give you. Every time I give somebody this assignment,
Mhm.
they almost always decide on what they want based on what they think is possible. Don't do that.
Okay.
Meaning, don't only choose something because you can see how it could be quote unquote realistic.
Mhm.
Call out what you really want. Don't start off by trying to be reasonable. Don't start off by trying to be realistic. Like I had somebody one time, she told me what she wants. She was like, but I didn't put that down, coach, because I'm a caregiver for my mom. And so I have to stay in this state. I have to. So that's not realistic. Don't do that because dreaming is free, right? And miracles happen every day.
I love that.
Yes,
I should get
absolutely.
that on a shirt.
And should I sign it? So identify what you want, and that's the first step. Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah. Thank you, Candace. Don't settle in your wanting. Somebody put that in the chat. Don't settle in your wanting. We done made
Mm.
a habit out of settling so much. We even settle when it's just time to talk about our desires. You ain't got to do nothing with it. We settle when we talk about our desires, which is crazy. All right. So don't settle when this is the funnest part about getting out of chronic stress. Paint the picture of the most idyllic circumstance. Got it?
Okay.
All right.
Thank
All
you.
right. You're welcome. I think we had Mrs. Arnold and then Catherine, we got you up next. Miss Arnold, you ready?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. And if it goes out or something, don't be afraid to go to the next person. I will get on my phone and then come back to me because my
Okay.
stuff feels kind of sketchy right now. So, yeah. So first of all, man, thank you so much. Definitely happy and grateful that you're putting on this whole thing. This is the first day that I've actually come, and man, you've put such an impact on everything. Because usually when I hear about like health realms and things like that, it's usually generic. Like I studied health stuff in college. Like I've gone to a church, so I thought you were gonna come with a bunch of stuff that I'd like already heard before, and you didn't. I was like, what? Wait a minute. Like, so that is incredible. I guess my question, again, this is my first day on. What do you have to say, or have you already spoken about the stress response for women as it relates to our cycle? Like I'm over here reading this like book, like In the Flow, like it talks about all the different like cycles and cycle syncing, and I'm trying to do the plant-based thing. I just made this plant-based ice cream. Like I'm really trying to like, woosah.
Yeah.
And it's been difficult lately, but like usually around the time of my cycle, I hold it in my body. Like things just irritate me much more, during that time than any other time. So I'm curious whether you can.
Yeah. So absolutely. Stress when for a woman definitely can affect her cycle 100%. What I've seen over the years with our students is either their cycle stops, right? So, or it gets out of its regular schedule. I've seen that, right? So like I'm used to coming on at this certain time and I didn't. And so, and because it also impacts, I know it also impacts our reproductive health, period, right? So what we've had is individuals who are experiencing chronic stress and it impacts their cycle negatively, not just on around how they eat and what they consume. So what you eat impacts the severity of your cycle. So what happens is when a lot of people are stressed, if they are stress eaters, that then can make your cycle more severe, right? So one of the main things that makes your cycle more severe is dairy and oil, right? So and when we are stressed and we're stress eaters, we're not going to kale and carrots, right? We're going to usually junk food. And so that is going to increase the severity of something like cramps or those premenstrual symptoms. But then we also sometimes when the body is super stressed, the cycle will stop altogether. We've seen that as well. Also, we've had a lot of students who come to us for fertility issues, right? And so when it comes to trying to monitor fertility issues and trying to get pregnant, the stress will certainly impact your ability to get pregnant and impact fertility issues. When we look at things like fibroids, endometriosis, PCOS, all of those things are negatively impacted by stress, of course, because of the inflammation. And so absolutely it makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference. And so when we change our diet, you usually go into periods that are first of all a surprise. So what happens when a lot of our students go plant-based, especially when they take out dairy and sugar? They don't even know when their period is coming anymore because they don't have the cramps, they don't have the breakouts, they don't have all of that stuff. And that really changes the game for people because a lot of women believe this is just a painful period in my life, a painful time of the month, and I just got to deal with it. And it's not true. So we notice when we clean up, meaning clean up our diet and get rid of chronic stress, periods get shorter. They are usually a surprise. There's no more cramping and pain in the body. We also see we've shrunk fibroids before for clients. We have had clients who have been trying to get pregnant for years, and then they go through the protocol with the plant-based diet and eliminating stress, and they get pregnant. And so, absolutely, stress plays an impact on that. Thank you for asking. Let's go through the last two questions really quickly, and I'll give you guys your homework in our final segment. Come on in. What happened to Catherine? All right, come on in, B. I don't see Catherine.
I'm here.
Oh, Catherine, you're
I'm
here?
here. Yeah, I just took my hand down because I knew I
Okay.
was next.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, go for your question.
Yeah, okay. Would it also impact menopause,
Yes, stress.
premenopause?
Yes. Are you asking will stress impact it?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. And especially with changes in your diet too. So stress is so inflammatory, y'all. So it affects everything because remember on that system I just showed you guys, Catherine, that when you get to a certain point kind of in the mechanism, when those it was the third step, when the stress hormones start flooding your body, the cortisol and adrenaline, because it
Mhm.
sends a signal to your brain that you're in physical danger, it significantly turns down your immune system, your digestive system, all of the different systems. So your endocrine system is the system that manages and controls your hormones, right?
Mhm.
So if you're dealing with chronic stress and perimenopause or menopause, if your endocrine system is compromised from stress hormones, it is going to cause a hormonal imbalance. Does that make sense?
Mhm. Mhm.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Come on in, B. Is it B? Is that how you say
Yeah,
it?
B, that's
Okay.
good. That's good.
Okay.
I looked at your process that you had on the screen a minute ago, and this thing starts with a thought.
Yes.
And for me, the biggest thing is I do know, oh, please excuse me. Oh gosh. I do know that there are times when I do have a thought health related, either I'm eating something I know I have to eat, and I have to be so careful about what I eat. And then this thought that I have as I'm eating, it sometimes I try to figure out, okay, I don't want to be stressed about it. I don't want to worry about it. But what I do want to do is to tell myself, yes, you can have certain foods, this thing works. But when I start to stress, then I start to have these pains and these aches, like you talked about. I thought I was hallucinating or something.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking maybe I need to tell myself, yes, you need to be careful about what you eat. And when these symptoms, or I don't know what to call them, things start to arise,
Yeah.
maybe I need to tell myself, you know that. So, yes, you're thinking about what's going to happen or what may happen, but I can also say to myself, I'm not going to eat this, but I'm going to go down and eat that because
Yeah.
it won't cause a problem. So
Yeah.
that whole thought, I've given myself a solution maybe, or made a decision as you've talked about.
Mhm.
Clear
Yeah.
it, help me clear it. Help me get
Yeah,
the
really
rest.
quickly. And we're gonna pick this up. Will you be here tomorrow? Do you
I'll
have
be
it?
here tomorrow. I'll be here.
Perfect. So I apologize for having to rush through
No
the answer,
worries.
but we can pick it up. But so congratulations on coaching yourself there. You're 100% right. What I want you to recognize that you're doing, right, is you're trying to self-soothe with food, right? So you have the thought, something happens, I want to soothe myself. If when I have a thought, or when I, feel stress or anxiety in the body or in the mind, if my first go-to is to eat something, right? That is signs of emotional eating. The solution to that is emotional intelligence. So yes, you can tell yourself something different. That's what we call managing it in the moment.
Mhm.
But the bigger thing that we want to make sure we do is, okay, now I have to master this thing of emotional intelligence. Let me start studying that, because what's happening is I'm feeling a feeling, whatever feeling the thought triggered. I'm
Mhm.
feeling a feeling,
Mhm.
and I am choosing and I'm making a decision based on the feeling I feel.
Mhm.
That's emotional intelligence that needs to be worked on. Does that
Okay,
make sense?
that makes sense.
Okay. So, but we'll definitely pick that up. Okay.
Okay, I'll be here tomorrow.
Okay, cool. Um, Candace.
Hey, really quick, Lisa, I keep hearing you say oil, like stop the oil. Can you clarify like what oil you're referring to?
All of it. Next question. It's like, no. So, Candace, listen, oil is so inflammatory. Okay. So, here's what I mean. We do a challenge twice a year, well, a vegan challenge, but Candace, we make everybody give up salt, oil, and sugar, because people have been taught that oil is a health food. No, olive oil is healthy. I use grapeseed oil, I use avocado oil. All oil is the fat that we've extracted from the whole food, right? And so what happens is we're consuming an extract. Like, oil doesn't grow anywhere, right? The avocado grows somewhere, the coconut grows somewhere, right? The olive grows somewhere. So eat the olive, eat the coconut flesh, right? Eat the avocado. But when we extract only the fat and we discard the nutrients, the fiber, the vitamins and minerals that would have made that complex food more complex, we disrupt the molecular structure of the food. And all that means, Candace, is that we disrupt the nutritional integrity of the food. So just consuming the fat without getting the fiber and the nutrients that came in the whole food is how we're getting a crap ton of calories without any sustenance. And so what happens is oil, it begins to destroy what's called the endothelial cells. That is simply the lining of the artery. So excess oil in the diet is what can cause heart disease, weight gain, or make a weight loss really hard, because from that fat, you're going to get way more calories than you get in protein and carbs. And so you're eating oil, but you're not getting any real vitamins and minerals. The reason it's labeled as healthy, though, is because of something we call polyphenols. And those are antioxidants that are found in the olive. Right. And so do you get traces in the oil? Yes. But the real money maker is eating the whole food. And so when we do our challenge and when we teach our protocol, our plant-based protocol, people who are in a health crisis, people who are trying to lose a significant amount of weight, people who are battling high blood pressure, high cholesterol, type 2 diabetes, we take all oil out of their diet and we're able to see those things change quicker.
Got it.
Yep. Yep. Coconut oil should only be in your bathroom, never in your kitchen. That's almost 100% saturated fat. Okay. So coconut oil is a big no. Put it in your hair, skin, nails. All right. So I have team. Can I get 2 minutes to go through consumer from producer? I'm sorry we went over with time, or should I save this for tomorrow? I'll check in with the team because I know they have to go and everybody's on a schedule. So Danita, Jamie.
You're good. You're good.
Okay. All right. So guys, we'll take this quick second to go through this final bit. Team, let her cook. Hey, y'all better be over there eating it up too. Okay. So let's go over this final segment. And I got to share my screen again. I just want to show you the consumer to producer. So I gave you 2 tips already for your toolbox on how not to just be a consumer of this information and to make sure you're producing. I'm going to give you number 3 right now. So number 1 was calculate the cost of inaction. Okay. Number 2 was acknowledge the difference between it's hard versus I'm just new. And today's tip, so that you don't just consume and you actually do something, what you're learning is admit what you don't understand or when you need help. Sometimes when we're in scenarios like this, when we're in settings like this, the expert is preaching, they talking, they cooking, right? And they saying a lot of good stuff. And you taking most of it in and you taking notes. But every now and then they say something, you like, wait, what? I don't get that part. And it is usually that part that stops you from taking action completely. I need you guys, when you are in settings like this, getting all juiced up with new information, new perspectives, new ideas is triggering this stuff. The moment you don't understand something, the moment you're confused, the moment your clarity starts fading, raise your hand. That is going to be the moment that you can guarantee that you can take action. Nobody takes action without clarity. Literally nobody. If you're confused, you won't do anything. We say we have this phrase in business. I teach business, and in entrepreneurship, we say confused buyers don't buy. Confused prospects don't buy, right? If you are trying to sell a product or service, but they're not clear on what the heck you selling or what it's gonna do, they don't buy. Nobody takes action out of confusion. So I'm telling you, when I say, hey, we're open for questions. When I say, how can I explain something differently? Because if you haven't noticed, matter of fact, I'm put it on my name on Zoom. One of my monikers is the wordsmith. Okay. I'm sweet with words, y'all. I'm real good with words. So if I said it a way you don't understand, just ask me and I bet you I can find another way to say it. So get clarity, and that way you can start taking more action. If you're like, well, wait, should I do this first or that first? Candace said, well, what oils can I have? Because if I'm not specific, you'll either take incorrect action. I'm sure she didn't mean olive oil, or you'll take no action, right? So get clarity. And all you're getting, get understanding. Listen, that is it for me today. Here's your homework. Here's your homework. First, you're going to take the chronic stress assessment. This is a mini 8-question assessment that me and my team put together. It is curated based around science. There are 4 specific areas in our lives that chronic stress negatively impacts. And so we asked you questions on this assessment based on those areas. And I'll break it down for you some more tomorrow. So take the chronic stress assessment. And right after you do that, which takes 90 seconds, by the way, you're going to watch the wonderful interview between me and Coach ET, where we are talking about food addiction and chronic stress. Here is the QR code, and let me drop the link in the chat. Hold on, let me grab it and let me get it to Kiwi. You guys are good. Get that first. Get that first, and then we'll drop the link in the chat for your homework. The link is just gonna go take you to the assessment. Once you finish the assessment, that takes 90 seconds, then the link to the video is gonna pop right up and you can watch it on YouTube, okay? So it's one QR code, one link, and you get both things through one link. Got that? Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing for a second so I can drop the link in the chat. So anybody who didn't get it, it's coming right now. Let me grab it. Clarity stress score. Okay. So here's the link to the homework. Get it right now while the getting is good. Take the stress assessment, our chronic stress assessment, and that is going to lead you to this wonderful conversation between me and Coach ET, where I break down how to eliminate chronic stress. I break down food addiction. I break down this phenomenon of it runs in my family, all the stuff we've talked about up until this point. So it'll be a wonderful review. Guys, that is it for me today. Thank you for the extra time. We look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow at the same time for day four. And tomorrow we're going to get way more granular. I'm going to start breaking down on a more finite level what we should be doing to eliminate chronic stress. But today I showed you the mechanism for how it turns into disease. I hope it has blessed you. See y'all for day 4.